Welcome to This Got Me Thinking, where clarity comes from conversations and the ideas that spark from it. I am your host, Chris LaFay, and today I have the pleasure of chatting with Andy Milligan. And I've known Andy for a while, and he's told me this story before, and I wanted him to share it on the podcast because it's all about success, and success is this thing that's so hard to define, right? It's easy in agency world to be able to say, we want to grow an agency that's X millions of dollars with this many types of people that are working there, but it doesn't mean anything. They're just numbers at the end of the day. And I've also found that when talking about success, and not even talking about it, just being around other people that have had some form of success for themselves, it's very easy to compare. And it's also really easy to accidentally take somebody else's version of success and apply it to your life. And so I'm going to let Andy tell his story.
You and I have talked about this. I grew up with a very traditionalist relationship with money. Father's a police chief. Mother is a librarian. When I was like 8 years old, we had a cookout, and I was about 8 years old. And he was about 45, 46 years old at the time. Had been working at the police department his entire career since he was before my age, like 20 years old. So a long time. And the party had kind of died down, and he came over to me and, I don't know what we were doing, probably eating hot dogs or something. But he told me, he's like, Andy, do you know why we had this cookout tonight? I was like, no, not really. I thought it was we had a lot of these, so it was kind of something that a lot of our families would come to, just hang out in the backyard, grandparents, a couple cousins and stuff. So the reason that we did this was because we're actually celebrating my job, and I only told your mother this, but this was my first year making six figures. I was like, six figures? Like, oh, that means $100,000. So that's what I also learned what six figures meant back then. But
Right.
so I kind of grew up with this mindset of like, okay, man, like that's what success looks like. Like I'm gonna have to work my whole life to be that. And I think, and this is so top of mind because we're talking about this recently, but that was just like my North Star for the first year of business. Like, man, if I can break six figures, I am crushing it. It took my dad his whole life to do that. So that's, one part of it is resetting expectations.
Andy's initial definition of success came from this relatively inconsequential moment in life, right? It was a backyard hangout with family and friends, and probably what was like a sidebar conversation from his dad. And many years later, that conversation stuck with him as that initial North Star of success. And after thinking about it for a little while, what I realized is I know that for me, I surround myself with other agency owners in the web space, the SEO space, the PPC space, all of the various different spaces. And it's really easy to look at the success that this company over here had that looks really similar to what my company could look like, and immediately draw conclusions around, if this is where this person's at and this is where I'm at, here's the logical steps so that I can get from here to here so that I can have the same level of success as this person. And what I've realized recently is that success for everybody looks different. And the piece that I've more so realized, because I've known that for a while, is when you're looking at especially different companies that are very similar to yours, and you can view this from a founder perspective, a marketing perspective, whatever it is, even if that other company looks very similar to yours, and you provide similar services and similar structures, and you're solving the same types of problems for people, the stair step on how you get to success is going to look wildly different. The pieces of the puzzle that we're all dealing with are all unique. We have different teams with different people and different skill sets and different preferences. And just with that different mixture, success is going to look different at the end of the day, but also the trajectory at which you take to get there is also going to be different. And so my takeaway and my challenge from this is really more of just a question and a thought of, when you're looking into the future and you're figuring out how do you want to define success, do you have any underlying notions or beliefs based on things that might not be true for you? Have you picked up something small from a long time ago and then have taken that as the definition of what success looks like for you? And it's easy to compare, what you have over here versus somebody else that looks very, very similar. But knowing that there are a multitude of differences between the two, for me, is something that I have been thinking about a lot. And that's what Andy got me thinking.